There's something to murder. That's his crime of death. I thought he had a murder on him.
Well, I guess we can get started this evening. I'd like to welcome you to the March Planning Board meeting. We do have quite a lengthy agenda this evening, so bear with us and we'll get through it okay. Before we start, I'd like to welcome Sven Vetter, who is a new member of our board, and welcome aboard.
Well, thank you. Good to be here.
Good to see you here. And with that, would you join in the Pledge of Allegiance, please? Pledge of Allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Catherine, roll call roll.
Mr. Anderson?
Here.
Mr. Shawnee?
Here.
Mr. Jardina?
Here.
Mr. Vetter?
Here.
Mr. Malta?
Here.
Mr. Gassick?
Here.
Ms. Corsi? Here. Mr. Artuso?
Here.
Mr. Chardy?
Here.
Okay, on the agenda, if you saw it now, we have two different phases of Aberdeen Estates, phase 2 and phase 3. Apparently, phase 3 is going to be tabled.
That is correct.
Okay, so we're tabling phase 3 to the what, April 7th planning board meeting? And also, there's been an error, hopefully nobody's here for these two, with Best Buy Auto Sales and Waterview. Both of those projects were not published in the paper. There was a misprint in the Webster Herald, and those two just didn't get in there. So sorry to say that we have to table those two also to the April 7th meeting. So that would be Best Buy Auto Sales and Waterview. So there are three tabled items that will not be heard this evening. So with that, we can get started. Mark, why don't you go ahead with the first one, please?
Aberdeen Estates Phase Number 2, located at Hazelhead Lane, the applicant Forest Creek Equity Corporation is requesting final site plan and subdivision approval in association with the development of 20 single-family residential lots on a 17.10 acre parcel located in a single-family residential district under sections 269-10, 296-18, and 350-12 of the Code of the Town of Webster.
Gentlemen.
Good evening. How are you? Jared Hurt with Evans Fox on behalf of the applicant Forest Creek Equity Corp. I'm here with Walter Baker, the engineer, project. As the board is aware, we appeared before the board in February. There were some comments and feedback from the board, which we took to heart. We did have a chance to meet with members of the town and discuss some of their concerns and issues. We have submitted revised plans to the board. We've received comments back from the engineer and PRC. I believe we're at a point now where we're requesting, as Mr. Bashan indicated, final for phase 2, and we are tabling phase 3. So with that being said, I open it up to the board for any questions, comments, concerns that they may have.
Well, I think we've hammered this thing around so much. Mark, did you guys have anything? I know you had some concerns and
We have comments.
comments on it?
Yeah.
Sure, go ahead.
Do you want me to read them all?
Well,
Yeah.
You have one?
let's put it this way. Have you given them, have you folks received the list of comments? They've got it? They've got it, right?
Yep.
So, Paul,
have.
if you want to address them quickly or whatever.
Good, and we've addressed all the comments that I'm aware of to date in writing.
We've received some substantial ones afterwards from,
And you've sent it back?
That's correct. Oh, no, they've not sent anything back.
not yet.
No, we don't have responses to the comments, our latest set of comments.
So how? Can't very well move forward with
Well, we
it.
just received them last week.
I'm sorry?
We just received them last week.
The comments that we received, all of the substantive issues that were addressed at the last board meeting have been addressed. For example, there was discussion regarding a conservation easement that was requested by the town, which we sat with members of the town and essentially hashed out what that would look like and set forth in the plans a 25-foot wide conservation easement that would run along the easterly boundary line of the property. There were some other comments that were set forth, if you recall, regarding setting specific heights with regard to basement foundations and some things along that, which have all been addressed. The rest of the comments that remain as of right now are just, in my opinion, they're more technical in nature.
Well, they're technical, but they're substantial. With regards to stormwater. In particular.
Why don't we table it till next month?
What do you feel we should be doing then with this thing, Keith?
They need to address our comments.
I'm sorry?
They need to address our comments.
Yeah, but you could, at this point, why could we approve it with conditions? We've gone through this now 3 times.
Yeah.
So we've addressed all the
So,
comments.
suppose we give final approval for the phase 2 and no work or anything is commenced until all comments have been addressed by the applicant. That work? Okay? All right. let's
Sure,
do
it's
it.
just gonna make, I just wanted to contend that it will make the pre-Mylar process longer than what you may be expecting.
That's fine.
All right, then.
And they have a list of the comments, you send them all.
Yes, to my knowledge, they do.
Maybe we could get a list, make sure you got the list
We
before.
can comply with them.
The comments are just as set forth in your email from last week, correct?
We have a comment letter dated
It was emailed out though.
on the 24th.
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
I just wanted to make sure that I wasn't missing something.
Yeah. I'd also like you not to downplay what our comments are.
Wasn't my, it's not,
They are substantial.
it wasn't my intent in doing that, so.
And keep it, or just so that they address the right part, is their comments just related to phase 2 and phase 3, or are they kind of integral?
Nope, we've separated them out
Okay.
into phase 2 and phase 3.
Separate sheet then, okay.
Yep.
All right, anybody? Dresden?
The only, thank you for adding the conservation easement, that was really appreciated on the east side. Just not being privy to the discussion on the 25-foot, with the rear setback being 50 feet, is there a reason that it wasn't 50 foot as a conservation easement? The back?
In terms of, you say why wasn't the conservation easement 50
Yeah.
feet?
Yeah.
We've tried to, you can speak more to this, but we tried to address it in terms of what our clear line was, and it had in conjunction with that, so.
All right, Derek, anybody?
No, that was the
Dave?
only thing that was really outstanding.
Sorry?
The only thing that was the big hang up from before was the easement discussion.
Yeah, they was out. All right, then let's do this. Why don't we grant final approval for phase 2 of Aberdeen Estates? We'll make that, we'll go through our generic schedule here, but make that subject to no permit, no that far, because needed. No approval, no permits, no building permits issued until all concerns by engineering department of the town of Webster are satisfied. That works?
As long as we can make reference to there's a February 24th email that was sent to us that included the comments and concerns.
Whatever the comments are that you guys, we can work that with Keith.
Well, so it should not be limited just to that letter though.
I've got a list of
Because
stuff.
if you, for example, provide responses back, but engineering has more comments based on those responses, it should not be just limited to that one letter. It should be limited to until engineering is fully satisfied.
How about we just say issues germane to the letter that provided by Keith to council?
Mm-hmm. Okay, then we'll make that, all right, then along with that, we'll make it as our standard for final. Make that subject to PRC comments, which are part of it. Subject to any parks and recreation fees, subject to all preliminary approvals that were granted, subject to all applicable governmental fees, subject to the Department of Public Works approvals, which is part of this. Significant construction, shall commence within 1 year deemed by the planning board to expire on March 3rd, 2027. I'm gonna assume that's all done by then. Jeez. The conditions of preliminary and final approval are depicted on the cover page of the final design plans. Engineer for the proposed project should provide a letter of certification that the proposed work was completed as per planning board resolution of final approval before a certificate of occupancy will be issued. A letter of credit to the town for the project shall include the fee for the engineer's final certification and inspection of the site. All stormwater facilities are to be constructed first. All downspouts are to be connected to the storm sewer system. And make this subject to resolution of the final approved minutes. And the approvals are subject to drawing number. Anybody know what that one is? Jennifer, you have it there?
Can't see it.
January 13th,
Just a date.
January 13th?
Yeah.
2026.
January 13th, okay. Okay, that would be a motion.
Second.
All right, have a second?
Mr. Kashani,
Aye.
Mr. Malta,
Aye.
Mr. Giardina,
Aye.
Mr. Anderson,
Aye.
Mr. Vetter,
Aye.
Mr. Gassick.
Aye.
Okay, guess we're all set. You can
Thank you.
work with engineering and hopefully keep moving on. Okay. Go ahead, Mark, you want to do the next one? You got that?
First scheduled item on the agenda tonight, Dinks and Links, located at 5 Mile Line Road. The applicant, Joe Catalani, is requesting sketch plan review associated with the re-subdivision of land and development of an approximately 39,100 square foot indoor-outdoor recreational facility on a 9-acre parcel located in a high-intensity commercial district under sections 269-5, 296-14, and 350-19 of the Code of the Town of Webster.
Yes, sir.
Hello again. I was before you folks 6 months ago, I think, in August, our last meeting, which went fairly well. I had to go through the DEC process, which was a bit time consuming, a little shorthand there. In any event, we did finally get through that process January 8th. They told us that we needed to put the development on the south part of the road. Over the next week, we submitted to the planning board what that would look like. Went to ownership from Hageland Plaza LLC to kind of swap land around and the subdivision around so that it could work on the south part, which we were able to make work. The town came back with some comments with respect to where the building would go, where the parking lot would go, and where the field would go. And we were able to make that work out. And so all of that was submitted in early February. The DEC asked for a specific map with wetland disturbances laid out for the permit. We submitted that in early February and we are waiting for permit. So the building has moved around a little bit. Everything is on the south side of the road, which actually works out better from standpoint of people crossing the road. Now the parking is right up there next to the building. There's nobody crossing roads anymore. Our handicap parking is right there instead of being, on the side of the building. It seems to work out a little bit better. We've sized the building down to 12 courts, 14 to 40,000 square feet. That's where we're at.
A much better plan than the first one.
Yeah, it actually is. It's a decent thing. Having all the parking on the same side.
Are you relocating the drive that goes around the parking lot for Lowe's? You're relocating that now?
Now that's where you have that. That's the only place that we could put that road. Number one, it delivers right to our parking lot, and number two, there's two problems. One, there's a small out parcel that was granted to whoever buys that parcel that's up in that orange area that I gave you guys. And so if you cut into that parcel becomes without value. And then on the right side, the DEC did not want us to go into the wetland. And it worked out okay anyways, because it comes right down to the main curb cut into our building. Since the plans that you have, we've again spoke with Keith and Josh about taking out the center curb cut and making a cross through traffic, so that there's only two curb cuts, which are in the process of being done, and there'll be a cross piece across the top as well as the bottom. And we'll lose 6 car parking, but we'll still be within the parameters.
Did you have you received the comments, the requests?
I did. Yep.
Okay, you've addressed them all?
I have.
Okay.
I met with the town afterwards.
And
With
the town is all, you good with all this, Josh? Without going through them all?
Yeah, I think when he goes to submit for preliminary stage, that those comments will be reflected, so.
Okay.
Yeah, with this just being a sketch plan.
Yeah, this is just sketch. Okay, all right, anybody any questions on this? Been around a couple of times now.
I just want to check, so the PRC comments had a comment about the proposed loop road. Does this drawing reflect what was intended in the PRC comments?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's going across the north,
Okay, yeah.
north edge of the property around the back,
Mhm.
and then it cuts back south into the property now.
I'm totally, last time you mentioned Black Cherry Boulevard extension. Is that something?
That's something that was from years ago when,
Yeah.
when St. Anne's was built. If you're familiar with Black Cherry Lane, it ends at the fence.
Right.
And the intent was that to run a roadway from there across the parking lot, or in that general area of Lowe's. And the town at the time had obtained a cut permit from New York State to put an exit onto, right onto 104.
Mhm.
It was a particular area, we're onto the feeder, similar to like up in the village there,
Mhm.
But I don't know what's gonna happen with that now. Right now and Black Cherry was actually built to town standards, that road too, at the time. But anyways, that's neither here nor there for this today.
Okay.
All right, anybody questions? This, again, it's in here, just a sketch plan. We've gone through it. He's addressed the comments from PRC and so on, so.
I just have one more question. So St. Anne's on the southwest side, is that considered non-residential? Because the buffer would go to 75 feet instead of 50 feet on the south side.
It is a high density residential
So
district.
this is multi-family, okay.
Yes.
Okay,
That's all I have.
all right. We did receive one letter from Dorothy Fate. She had some concerns on the project, and for the record, I don't know if she's here or not, but what we'll do is we'll enter that into the record, and it can be addressed at preliminary approval. Okay, anything else? Anybody, any other questions? No, well, let's see that. Well, it's not a public hearing. That's the next one, but you know what, if you've got a comment, we'll let you address it. Just come up and give us your name and address.
Okay. Thank you so much for letting me speak.
Mhm.
I'm sorry I'm late to this. I had some health issues, and well, now
Why
I'm
don't you
back.
give us your name and address, please?
My name's Sean Whipple, and I own 898 Ridge Road. That's the Sunset Valley Manufactured Home Community. I don't want to say that I'm opposed to this project, but I have some concerns, being that the project butts right up to my community. For those of you that don't know Sunset Valley, it's a 55-plus senior citizen community. I'm registered with the state. I have 53 home sites in there. The average resident's age is 72 years old. I know pickleball is very popular and all, but this could really adversely affect my residents and my community, being the proximity of the pickleball courts. And I would like the town to take into consideration the layout of this project, and then along in between my community and the proposed project, there is some storm drainage that the water comes off BJ's parking lot and runs across the back of my property, and then it goes behind St. Anne's. St. Anne's, it doesn't affect St. Anne's because that's the physical plant. And then the water dumps into a retention pond behind Lowe's. The problem is, with this development, how it lays out, it's pretty much on top of that storm drain, and I'm concerned with flooding. And then on my eastern boundary line, I have a storm drain that runs the whole way down the eastern boundary line. And I don't know if you guys could pull up 898 Ridge Road. And,
Well, look, we got a long agenda, so
Okay.
listen, again, this wasn't a public hearing, I just wanted you to,
okay.
but if you want to do this, why don't you put it all down on a document, put a letter to us,
Yeah.
and give it to us, so when he comes in for his preliminary approval, which is a public hearing at that time, when anybody can speak, and then we can address it correctly at that time.
Awesome.
That work for you?
Yeah.
Okay,
Great.
great, that would
Thank
be
you for
great,
your
thank you, thanks a lot, appreciate
No,
it.
thank you. Thank you.
Hmm? And you take this one for me? Oh, okay, then hang on, okay. Okay, all right, okay, so we got it next meeting. All right, with that, any other questions from the board?
No.
Okay, I guess we're all set. We'll move
Thanks,
forward
sir.
to preliminary approval. Okay.
Oh. Okay, the next scheduled item on the agenda is Bay Ridge Corner re-subdivision located at 423, 425, and 429 Ridge Road, also 1036 Bay Road. The applicant, Scott Measdale, LS, is requesting sketch plan review in association with the proposed re-subdivision lot line adjustments of 5 single-family residential lots on 2.5 acres in the R3 single-family residential district under sections 269-5, 296-14, and 350-12 of the Code of the Town of Webster.
Yes, sir.
Really what we're seeking is basically just a glorified lot line adjustment. The reason we're here is because it is 5 lots. It's remaining 5 lots, and our goal here is to make these 5 lots that are already severely non-compliant a little less non-compliant. As you can see on the plans, there are a lot of buildings that are very over the line, over most of the boundary lines, including one building that's 20 feet over the current boundary line. Some of these buildings, including 425 and 429 Ridge, have existed on Ridge Road since it existed as a trolley line in the 1800s. 1036 Bay Road on Lot 4 is one of the older buildings as well. The other buildings were constructed sometime in the 40s or 50s, and all 5 lots were in the same ownership all the way back to the 40s and 50s, and just recently, as of last year, sold to a new owner, all 5 lots. And the new owner wants to rectify some of the issues that are at hand.
Okay. Are these hooked to the sewer system or are they on septic?
So 429, 425, and 423 Ridge Road all have independent sewer hookup to the town system, independent water, electric, and gas utilities. 1036 has its own hookups to the system. They have a leach field directly adjacent to what would be the right side or the south side of the house, and then they have public utilities feeding that. Really the only utility concern is with 1036A. 1036A was built originally as a guest house, and so the utilities have tapped into 1036. The utilities, the gas and the electric, do have individual meters that run to 1036A. So 1036A's gas and electric meters do reside in the basement of 1036 alongside the 1036 meters.
You're confusing me. Are there any of them
I know. This
that
is
are combined or not? Do they all have their own services?
The 1036A does not have its own water service. 1036A, their water is a uniform system from 1036.
Okay, in my opinion, that needs to be rectified. That should have its own. If you're putting them on separate lots, each one should have its own entity.
They actually already are on separate lots.
Yeah, I know, but the water should be a service going to there directly, metered on that unit, not from the front. That's my thinking anyways.
I mean, the thing is, currently, Lot 4 and 5 are being sought after to be purchased together as basically one sale. There is somebody interested in those 2 lots that would like to buy them and still keep them, adjacent to each other, but own them together much like they are currently owned. One of the thoughts.
It's like you're looking like you want your cake and eat it too. Each one should be a separate lot, am I correct? Each one will be its own separate lot.
Yes.
Then each one of those lots should have its own independent servicing that lot. That's my opinion anyways. I don't know of any other situations in town otherwise. Anybody?
Well, no, I mean, you're saying that the water service comes from 1036 and it goes to 1036A, right?
That is correct.
1036A is on a separate lot. So what, and now we're gonna sell off 1036 and the other lot next to it.
Yeah, so basically they're on their own individual lots currently.
Yeah, I understand
And they're
that,
gonna
but
be on it.
the service is unrelated to 1036A. It's gonna be different owners.
No, where they're being sold, those 2 lots are going to the same owner.
suppose down the road, he decides to sell one of them, because
So
it's
they-
on a separate lot.
So that could be a legal binding
Well, how about we make it now?
risk.
Make that one of the conditions now. I mean, that's standard procedure. You develop a lot, you have to have water, sewer, gas, electric, you know? And if there's septic tanks, we did receive one letter, I'll just quickly read it from Mr. Pat Zahn. He's at 18 Leedale Drive. My interest in this application is environmental runoff to the creek, septic system, contaminants, Rundequoit Bay watershed, excess water flow, and will changing property lines alter the septic system and the leach lines as it has been part of the property system on 2 different lots. So legitimate questions he's asking here, and in my opinion, something like this needs to be reviewed. I'm okay with what you're doing, and I understand what you're doing, but each lot, I believe, should have its own services going to it. And the health department should probably be checking the septic tanks on those places back there. They've probably been in there from 1900s, you know? And this gentleman's obviously concerned because he's aware of the septic. So I don't know if they're functioning properly or not. So I believe that should be checked by Monroe County Health also.
Okay. I mean, we did check that they do exist, and there was no plan to change them, and their location is a significant distance from any proposed line.
You're gonna need several variances. I'm okay with that to, accomplish your goal. I can see that. But I believe you really need to have each one have its own utilities, all utilities, individual to each unit. And Monroe County Health check the septic systems and make sure they're functioning properly. And then that would trigger a response, whether they need to be changed or whatever by the county, because that's who controls that.
Okay.
Anybody?
Tony, I would agree with you. I mean, it's a unique scenario where the subdivision is occurring in existing lots. In this case, utilities like the septic tank, leach field location should be identified. Water lines and electrical lines on it as well, because leach fields themselves would have to have a setback from the property lines. So it's almost going to be a check to make sure that the proposed lot line are set back far enough from the leach fields too.
You have to do a seeker on this? Probably do, don't we? Yeah. Want to do it? Move forward.
This is just good.
I'm sorry?
This is just sketch plan.
Oh, I'm sorry, yeah, it is, right.
Well, good.
No, you're right. One second.
So,
Okay.
the 1036A, does that have its own septic system?
Yes, it does.
So that's separate from the septic system that serves 1036.
That's correct.
See,
You started earlier talking about the meters for 1036A. Those are actually, you said, both the gas and electric and the water are located in the basement of 1036?
Yes. So the basement of 1036 has a singular water meter for both 1036 and 1036A. It's a joint water system.
Right.
But then there are 2 sets of gas meters and 2 sets of electric meters in the basement of 1036.
Yeah, all of that would have to be separated.
Yeah.
Independent gas services, independent electric service, independent water service, no co-location of a neighboring property, because you don't know if it's already. We're also going to have to find out, how you have access back to the rear property, access again to the easement, or even.
Well, there's, as far as, you mean driving access, they have their own existing curb cuts and driveways as it is.
But in the event you were to sell whoever owns that house in the back there, right there, Josh, yeah. That access is from the other side and from Bay Road. That would need some sort of a easement from those properties in the event something got sold down the road. right?
Yeah.
So that should all be in place.
No, it's 1036A, is that parcel actually L-shaped?
Yes,
So that's all one big parcel.
so
That parcel
originally,
winds up having the residential house on it, the black and metal garage, it also has the metal barn, and it has the steel shed on it.
yes,
And so those are the things that they would be seeking variances from for having all those accessory buildings and existing parcel.
yes, we have a
The
list
access to the
of,
one in the back comes off of, the road to the south. Ideally, you'd probably wanna get rid of the driveway tying into the 1036 parcel too. So that you don't have feeding both ways of a single parcel in case the things are sold out. But the key is that they're really, both of those parcels really need to have independent gas, electric, and sewer services, independent water services that do not rely on co-located meters in an adjacent property's house. That's actually not generally allowed, actually, the town doesn't allow in the first place, so that is the change. I agree with Drozen too, that this particular area, we don't know where the septic system is, the drawings should clearly show the layout of the septic system on the sites, how the various things are tied into it, and then also demonstrate how it's going to be corrected, and have the independent services.
I think before you actually show it though, I think what they should do is be contacting Monroe County Health Department to make sure they're even functioning. Don't even locate, we don't even care where it is right now, we gotta know that they're functioning, first of all, then locate them.
And to verify that they truly are.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Right. And any crossing, property lines, you're gonna need a bunch of variances, and understood, that'll
yeah, we know
that'll
that.
fix it up, I have no issues with that. But the driveways, if you're going to the back, you're crossing that front one on Bay Road, that should have an easement across the property, and that should be written right in the deeds.
Well, currently, they're all owned by the same
Yeah, that doesn't
person.
matter.
Now,
They're separate lots. I don't care who owns them all, there's a builder can own them, one builder can own them all. But when he goes to sell one, that's where the issue comes in. So rather than mess with it then or get overseen, I think the time to correct it is right now. You agree?
Oh, yeah.
If one person wants to purchase both of those properties, why can't they be combined now into one property and satisfy a lot of the issues that you have with utilities?
And basically, we'd have to just get the zoning variances to allow for multiple residences on one property, is that what you're suggesting?
Yeah, there's no good reason to do that. All right.
I mean, that was one of the things I was wondering as well.
All right, why don't we do this? Why don't you, when you come in for preliminary approval, come in showing the lots as you're showing them. Something from Monroe County that the septic system is functioning property from Monroe County Health. Showing any cross lots, how you're proposing to cross them, how you would get any, an easement be granted to, I don't know the lot numbers, I can't see them. Lot number 4, is that the one in the front there?
Yes.
Okay, look, they need to grant an easement across lot number 4 to get to, what's the lot in the back there, lot number whatever. 5, okay. So I think these are the things that need to be shown on a drawing.
Okay. I mean, if they decided to put a fence up over that piece of driveway, then access has been eliminated as well.
Well, I'm looking at the drawing and it shows access going to it, so
Right.
that's what, and you need to take it off the drawing if you're not gonna have it there.
Okay. I'm coming up with some options to give the owners.
Yeah, these are the options.
Yep.
And then, Johnson, what'd you get?
Mine was just locate septic and water lines
Oh, yeah,
on the
same thing,
plan
yeah.
so that we know what they are from
Yeah,
the property line.
Each one separate water line too, yeah.
Is that main concern really with lots 4 and 5, 1036 and
Yes,
1036?
each 5 lots need to have 5 separate utilities going in there.
Yeah, we do know, like I said, that the 3 out on Ridge do have separate utilities.
That's fine. Then the ones, those there need to be separated, separate water line going back to lot 5.
Okay.
think the thing to keep in mind that this is still, it is an existing subdivision, but it's effectively a re-subdivision.
Yeah.
And that the drawing should have a level of detail of a subdivision for all the parcels, not picking and choosing the parcels, but all the parcels. Access easements, utility locations, anything you would expect to see in the regular subdivision plan.
Okay, so you want them on all 5?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's gotta be a complete subdivision plan.
Okay.
Okay?
Yep.
Can I make a comment? Is that okay?
So,
I live next door to the property.
Okay, why don't you come on up? You can just, you're a neighbor there, I'm gonna guess.
Walter, last name is Worrell.
so can you just-
Just give us your name and address when you get up to the mic.
Walter Worrell, 1048.
No, we're not hearing you until you get to the
I'm
mic.
sorry, Walter Worrell, 1048 Bay Road. I'm the owner of the property next to the proposed housing change. The concern I have is a creek that runs right through the middle of this property. And when Mr. Morowski owned the property back then, Elmer Lillienquist, who lived behind me, who's deceased, told me that he wanted to put a house there. And the town of Webster requested he have a special septic system because he's in close proximity of the creek. He decided not to build a house because of that. But that was a concern of the, back then.
Back then.
And they had put the driveway that goes along, the person, I think it was Mr. Dyke, owned the house that I had before, or that I purchased. He used to own that property and also some of the property that he sold to Elmer behind. When he sold that property, there's a driveway that goes right along the side. And originally the house was a ranch house with no garage. He came down that driveway and parked in the basement. So my house had a driveway in the basement. When he sold the property to the Morowskis, he asked that they would get rid of that driveway because it was in very close proximity of the property line. I don't know if it's legal as it is or whether it's, meets the zoning standards. To answer his concern, Mr. Morowski just planted a bunch of pine trees along the side there to try to hide it. But the sons were in the excavating business, so they had equipment, they could change things or whatever. And they kept rebuilding that driveway to the point where it was a little bit higher. And on one side of my house, because all that property runs downhill towards the creek, I get flooding all the time. At one point, he put a culvert there. I don't know if he did put a culvert or just put some stones in there, build like a French drain, silver drain, but it doesn't work anymore. And I remember Mr. Lillienquist, at one point, his property used to get flooded because he owns property in the back that adjoined the property, because that creek would back up because the culvert that they had put in to drive across both properties would get filled with debris. And so that would create a problem for him in flooding. But he was a nice guy and never addressed the issue because he didn't want any problems with these things. So, but that's one of the concerns I have.
All right, well, appreciate it.
Close proximity to the creek and, whatever septic system they put in has to comply with, because that goes into the bay.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Actually, probably should do that also then, is check. The stream should be checked and cleared. I don't know, who would do that? Mark, you guys do that or what? I'm giving you something here, I don't even know.
Well, we'd have to understand if it's private or public drainage, I don't know.
Yes.
Well, that's where this thing has to have a regular subdivision plan.
Yeah.
It shows all utilities, that includes storm drainage. That all has to be clearly shown and how it's addressed on it. So, it's no different than any other subdivision.
No, you're
It just happens to have buildings on it already. It's kind of a unique portion of it.
What's that? Yeah, I don't know.
Wasn't this, I thought it was for sale signs over there, wasn't it just recently sold, was it acres?
Yes, it was sold in the fall.
Was it the buildings as well, or was it just acres? I thought the signs just said land for sale.
No, it was 2.7 acres. It consists of all of this, because I did all the survey work in the fall for this. So it is everything you see here, and then we just manipulated the lot lines to try to do the best we could clearing the buildings.
Okay, why don't we do this? Look at, probably just cut to the chase on it. Have your engineer design this thing like it was a subdivision without the houses. It's called a regular new subdivision. And answer all the things that Derek just mentioned, just like a regular subdivision coming in. Any streams on there, the water flow, the drainage off the site, and so on and so forth. Then that, along with Monroe County checking it, and utilities being separate utilities going in, okay?
Okay.
Anything else? I think that pretty much covered it, didn't it? All right, you got that okay?
Yep.
All right, that'll be good.
Awesome.
Thanks
Thank you
a lot.
very much.
Thanks for coming in, we appreciate it. Thank you, sir, for your information too back there. Thank you. Okay, Mark, you wanna go with the next one?
Next item on the agenda is 1037 Ridge Road. The applicant is Terry Giangreco, who's requesting sketch plan review in association with the development of a 7,000 square foot single-story dental office on a 1.35 acre parcel located in the MC Medium Intensity Commercial District under sections 269-5 and 350-18 of the Code of the Town of Webster.
Good evening, my name is Ian Cookman, I'm with McMahon LaRue Engineers and Surveyors. Here to present the project on behalf of Dr. Terry Giangreco, famously known for owning all of the Get It Straight orthodontic offices throughout Monroe County. Seeking to build another dentist office here in Webster on Ridge Road adjacent to Brewster's Ice Cream. Looking to build between 6,000 to 8,000 square foot building with two primary dentists, professional dentists operating out of this building with 14 to 17 chairs altogether, orthodontist and pediatric dental care. With that said, we're looking for a site layout that'll provide a 3-to-1 ratio of chairs to parking spaces. Operationally, that means one person in the chair, one person in the waiting room, and one person checking out. That's how these dental operations work these days. Pretty efficient. So the site that we're showing provides 56 spaces, gives us about that sweet spot of a 3-to-1 ratio. Looking at zoning code based on a more conservative building layout of just north of 8,000 square feet, we exceed the minimum parking zoning code there. Looking for monument signage out front, of course, sprinkling some landscaping and some shade trees throughout to provide some more natural buffer to the adjacent businesses, along with some streetscaping along Ridge Road. The verdict's still out on how we're going to do stormwater on the site, but rest assured there will be stormwater mitigation on the site, while at the same time trying to maximize building layout and parking layout. Not a whole lot of space for traditional ponds, so likely going to be going underground with proprietary stormwater detention, water quality, and then I've got a little bit of a pocket behind the building for green infrastructure. So meeting all the stormwater requirements. One of the big obstacles with the site is going to be some utility relocation. We have a gas line and some overhead power that transects our site off of Ridge Road to the U-Haul storage facility in the back. So overhead power is definitely going to have to be relocated with our G&E. I think we're still in the design phase, trying to figure out how we're going to handle underground gas. Either work around it or relocate it. We met with PRC last month. We just missed the deadline to get in front of you guys last month. So we did meet with town staff and Mr. Kashani himself, and we've got some valuable impact, one of which, the intensity of the parking and the use. We're gonna, even though we're not proposing a new curb cut on Ridge Road, we will be working with Keith in the engineering department and New York State DOT to make sure that we're not overloading Ridge Road. From a traffic count standpoint, We've also been in touch with the town sewer department, identified that there is an existing sanitary lateral available, and we're in the process of working with Monroe County Water Authority to ensure that there's also a service available so that new services won't need to be provided. It's just a matter of time. So, yeah, we're working with the architect to fine tune the building drawings and design as we speak. What you see now is a pretty good close representation of the order of magnitude. I imagine when we come before you with a planning application, maybe some slight tweaks, certainly going to incorporate PRC comments and then any comments that you guys have here tonight. So with that said, I'd like to open it up and get your comments on what we call sketch or concept application, and then take that feedback into preliminary design.
Okay, thanks. Anybody? Any comments on it?
Is this the same Dow group that's owned the property for 15, 20 years?
Nope, brand new owners of the property. There was a site plan approval, I think, half a decade ago, but I don't think that project ever went through.
Right, this parcel, if I remember right, Tony, was all part of that Gulf Key development in the back. That completely got changed when it turned into self-storage.
Yeah, that is,
But it's essentially the same use that was included in those plans. The reason I bring that up is because it was part of that overall Gulf Key thing. One thing that probably our research is if the existing detention pond was built as part of that whole development, was sized to handle this parcel.
Yep, yeah, we're in touch with the engineering department to see if we can get our hands on that original SWIP to see if that was accommodated for us. But yeah, great point.
The site's gone through, several different configurations over the years. Like a particular driveway, one time was a divided driveway. It's back to a single driveway, and the ice cream store still has its own driveway as we go away.
How could you get it over there though? I think that's what we discussed already, but.
Oh, there was a drawing once upon.
Yeah, that went over, but now it's.
Yeah.
Those garages. One nice thing about this setup too is not another curb cut on the ridge is coming out onto the side there, so that's good.
No, it still works within it. I mean, the original concept for this parcel is went out the window. So
that's right.
The self-storage. But the idea of having a dentist's office on this parcel has been around for 15, 20 years at least. And always having access to the driveway to the road there was always part of a long-term plan for that particular parcel. I was still waiting for it to get built. It's kind of
Hopefully we'll do it this time.
Probably the biggest concern with the site, we've addressed it, is the drainage, how you're gonna handle that, whether you sheet it to some point through a pond, you can get to it, or underground in the driveway, in the parking lot, however you're proposing, that'll come in. Your building design, landscaping, you wanna show that for preliminary approval. You know what to do with the building.
Yep. Yeah, we don't. We got
Okay,
your
you
feedback.
good with
Yep.
that? Anybody, anything? Pretty
For
simple.
me, it's just, again, this being Ridge Road, landscaping.
That would be part of it, that's part of it.
One thing maybe to consider, I'm not sure if this is the location of the building, but if you flip-flop your parking lot with the building, it gives you a little bit more drainage in the back, but you could also get rid of your monument signage and just put signage on the building.
Yeah.
Right now, your signage is being blocked by the hot box that's out there.
Yeah, that's something that we've been that's why I'm planting the seed that we may make some modifications, because not only drainage, but also it might help us avoid having to relocate that gas line too.
Okay, anything else, any other questions? Good? What's that?
You want to say something?
Oh, you're from the Conservation Board, right?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Well, go ahead.
I'm Dennis Dwork, I'm the chair of the Conservation Board, and we usually don't get formal reports at this stage, but we're kind of.
You get a little closer to that microphone, because I'm not hearing you good there.
How's that?
There you go.
Is that better?
Yep.
My name is Castor. Okay, Dennis Dwork, and we're gonna know where I live as well. Tall Birch Trail, and I'm with the Conservation Board. It's interesting that some of the comments that you brought up were just exactly similar things that we looked at. We did a preliminary walkthrough a couple days ago. And drainage, we were interested in how we were going to handle the drainage because there's a lot of non-permeable surface. And let's see, do you have the site up again? I just wanted to see what the look like. There's a swale on that west end that you've got there, you mentioned right there. And we noticed that in there's 4 PVC standpipes that are down because it's fairly low. And the question was, we were wondering how that tied in with existing or proposed stormwater runoff. It looks like it's something that's set up initially to take care of excess and connect to a stormwater system. So is that part of your plan? That was something I'd be interested in finding out. And also on the back part, there's a little swale that seems to be dry between that and your proposed building and the storage area. It doesn't really show up much. It does dip down. It looked pretty dry at the moment, but it made it wet. Kind of runs off into the back. So it looks like you're looking at that. That's something we saw as well. One thing we were concerned about was, I'm not sure exactly from that diagram exactly where the western edge of the property is. It looks like it jogs around in the back, like a little dog leg, and then comes out. And then if you go all the way on the south, and then it goes up, right? And there's a little piece, and then it goes back. Okay. So we were curious about that, or whether or not any of the trees that seem to be between that product. There's a few really large shade trees that are there. I don't know if those are on your property or the next property next door, but they're big and old enough. Josh, I don't know if you can take a look at some of the photos that Charlotte took, but they appear to be trees that, even if they're not right where you're going to have to be doing some clearing, they're big enough and old enough that you're going to have to be really careful on these trees, and then those are evergreens. But there's another picture that shows one more. And you can kind of see those evergreens, and then you can see just the branches of a very, 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 very large. It looks like, I'm not sure if it's a big one, but it's a very big little tree. The trunk is about this big. So if it's not on your property and you have to do some clearing under, the Conservation Board was concerned about how you can avoid getting too close to that tree to damage it, even though it looks like it's on the adjacent property as you work under the drainage, because that's it.
So Dennis, can we have them flag the trees that are on the site, that are good trees?
Excuse me?
Maybe flag the trees, mark them so that they don't get
We might be able to mark them, but there's really only a small stand of existing trees, and again, on the southwest edge. I'm not sure if they're really on your property or they're right adjacent, but I'm concerned that if you go right up to them, could damage the trees, which has happened on some other development sites recently that we're concerned about. Like the fact that there's a number of, there's a tree. Okay. So it's that one looks a little different from that aerial view. The tree that's in that little dog leg, we'll probably need to check that a little bit carefully when we get to the next phase. I'm assuming we'll probably get to the next phase of this. So that's it. We can do that at some point. And there was one more thing. Shade trees. Okay. The shade trees that you have in your plan, it sounds like you're going to try to keep a buffer of trees in there. And that was something you're pleased about. So it sounds like you looked at it. Do you know that there's one picture, the second picture from the last, or the middle picture. Yeah, those are the standpipes. There's 3 or 4 standpipes. I don't know if you've noticed those.
Yeah.
So does that indicate that there might be already an existing stormwater drainage system that you're going to tap into, or is that one of the things you still have to find out about itself?
Yeah, I can respond. Do you want me to respond?
I'm not supposed to be the one who's
that, or?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. So those were comments that we saw.
Okay, thank you, David.
So those standpipes are old cleanouts from the abandoned storm sewer that used to run through the U-Haul storage facility. When they built the U-Haul, they abandoned it. So where that ends up terminating on Bridge Road is actually where we're going to be tying into our sewer lateral. Other than that, I appreciate the comments about drainage, the rear drainage, and then the tree protection. We'll go out there and mark the trees that will be protected.
Save the good trees, yeah.
We'll try to save the good trees, yeah.
Okay, good, thanks, Ian.
Yeah.
Okay, anybody, any other questions? Okay, I guess with that, pretty much covered it. For sketch plan only, is, you know where we're going with the building, type of structure, landscaping, obviously you know how that goes. If you can fix that nice along the front there, that would be good, you know, a little extra. Okay, with that, I guess we're all set. Thank you. Thanks, Ian. Okay, Mark, we'll go.
Next item on the agenda is 7 Brew located at Hart Road. The applicant, Brewer Team New York LLC, Doug Beachel, is requesting sketch plan review in association with the development of a 510 square foot prefabricated double drive through only coffee stand on a 0.73 acre parcel located in a high intensity district under sections 269-5 and 350-19 of the Code of Town of Webster.
Gentlemen.
Hi. Sorry to disappoint. Doug Beachel is our Director of Operations, and he's on his way. He was unaware of a scheduling conflict. My name's Larry Adler. I'm one of the partners of Blue Team New York. And we're happy to be here to talk about our proposed location on Hart Road. 7 Brew is a drive-through only, beverage only coffee stand. We sell espresso-based drinks, smoothies, and energy drinks. We don't sell any food. We don't make any food. The only thing we have is a prepackaged muffin top. The building that we have is a 510 square foot prefabricated building that comes in 3 pieces. We put it on a stem wall, and basically the building is complete in 3 days. Again, it's a double lane drive-through. The site plan that we have here stacks about 22 to 24 cars and has parking for 12 parking spaces on it. In addition to the building, and again, the building is only for employees. The public doesn't go into the building. It's only for our baristas and our staff. 99.9% of the traffic will be from cars. We do allow walk-up customers to come, but it's a very, very small percentage of what we get there. We also have about a 340 square foot remote cooler and storage area. The building and the cooler are clad in a Nichiha, which is a cementatious board. It reads like bricks, as you can see on the we got here. And the dumpster, we have a freestanding dumpster corral that also matches the exterior of the building. So, and I know that staff and Erica has had some back and forth with Doug. There was a comment letter that was sent to us, and I think we've either have addressed it or have noted so that for the next submission, we'll address the comments. This is a sketch plan, so we want to get your input and thoughts. And with me is Brian Tierney. He's our Director of Operations, so any questions about operations and how we operate, Brian can handle that.
What are your operating hours, basically?
5:30 a.m. to 10 p.m. during the week, and then Fridays and Saturdays are open until 11.
Till 11?
Yeah.
Yeah, we did have a conversation earlier on. the town, I believe, we've not. The only concern that I had with, I think it's a nice little project and everything, was the the lighting on there. Remember, I think we discussed that. Could that be subdued some or lightened down? I know that's your trademark, but I'm going back to, we've got these planning and development guidelines. In the guidelines, it's very specific. Corporate branding could be reduced, so if there's a way of reducing the number of those bright purple lights you have, I think this thing could be a simple operation. I don't know.
Yeah, so what we'd like to do is, as we, the next meeting, there's different ways that we can shield the light in certain areas so that it exactly what you're saying, it tones it down just a little bit. It is the trademark, and if we're near a residential area, sometimes we'll turn off, we turn off the lights at night, but we're mindful of the neighbors if there's an area that we have to worry about. But it is the trademark, but we want to work with the town and make it work.
And then again, I think we can work something out with it, but I think we need to compromise on it. I know I've seen pictures at night, and it's your gable ends and soffits, everything were all lit up, and it's pretty bright.
Well, it should show compliance.
I'm sorry?
It really should show compliance with the town's lighting ordinance.
Well, that's part of.
In the drawing,
it probably meets that, but it
the
doesn't.
drawing itself should show the lumens.
Yeah,
and how far away they get from the building, not necessarily into the property line, but how it spills over onto the adjacent property.
Yeah, they may be able to handle that, but my concern is it's a corporate branding and it's really bright.
Oh, yeah.
That's what I'm saying. If they can reduce that down, because that's what our guidelines say, unless we just toss them, I don't know.
No, it should look at making sure it's reduced down and making sure that the lighting stays on the parcel.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking
about. I think by law or regulation, we have to do that.
Understanding how the lighting is done now, LEDs in particular, and how bright they are and how far they spill over to adjacent properties. When they do a lighting map for the drawings, it should show the complete extent of lumens coming off of those lights. Not just the wall packs, but anything that's like on the inside of the building that shows outside.
In my opinion, to me, that's the only concern I have. Mr. Charity's showing a picture here of it lit up at night. I can almost walk through here with that thing like a flashlight right now. It's super bright. So see what you can do in that regard to tone it down some or modify it. I think we can work this out.
You seem to have some that are different, not as bright, less blue.
I'm sorry?
You do seem to have some locations with them like less, not as neon, like a darker neon blue rather than light neon.
Yeah, that's what I want to. I mean, typically it's a prototype, so it should be the same. But we can look into that, and we can also. I know, like I said, there's been some shields that'll help abate some of the the light that comes out.
Okay, you just take that information for what it's worth. See what you can do to subdue the lighting.
Right.
Okay? Other than that, I have no issues. I mean, the site is there. It's the last piece. It's right there.
Eric, did you have any other
anybody else? Any questions?
I have a couple.
Sure, go ahead.
I agree with the lighting, for sure. The other one is your access employee path to the dumpster. If you can extend that striping to the dumpster, because right now your employee essentially has to go into lane 1, which is an oncoming lane, in order to get to the dumpster with what they're carrying. So if you extend that past the curb for the foot traffic going back there. The one I think PRC comment had snow storage. That was one of mine too.
Mm-hmm.
You have curb, your curb goes all the way to the east. So where are you storing all the snow that's on site that will accumulate? The last one for me is just striping. So blue, typically ADA striping, and you have blue that you're using throughout your sites, and it can be confusing. What is ADA path potentially, or ADA parking, compared to it all being blue. So I would encourage you to distinguish only using the blue for ADA parking and yellow for around the dumpster, along your drive lanes and whatnot.
Your, how does the drainage go across the front there? Is that, what is it, like narrow shallow pond goes across?
The detention basin in the front,
It goes, okay, it goes right straight across, right from Taco Bell and Dairy Queen and so on, correct?
Yeah.
You're gonna have the same
Yeah.
configuration there, right?
Yes.
That'll be, then your landscaping, all in that area, okay. All right. Yeah, that'll continue right straight through, okay, all right. Guess with that, we're, okay, anybody have any other questions?
No.
That's it, okay. Guess we're good.
thank you.
See you when you come back in. Looks
Last
good
item
though.
on tonight's agenda is the Verizon Communication Tower located at Lake and County Line Roads. The applicant, Robert Bergdorf, of Bell Atlantic Mobile Systems, DBA Verizon, is requesting sketch plan review in association with a 125-foot telecommunications tower with a 4-foot lightning rod and associated ground-mounted equipment on a 7.8-acre parcel located in a large lot residential district under sections 269-5 and 350-13 of the Code of the Town of Webster.
Yes, sir.
Good evening, Robert Bergdorf from the law firm Nixon Peabody, here tonight on behalf of Verizon Wireless. Also with me tonight is Nico Facey. He's a site acquisition consultant for Verizon Wireless, who's available for testimony to the extent it may be helpful or necessary. Verizon Wireless is a public utility licensed and regulated by the Federal Communications Commission, and is responsible for providing wireless communications in all of its licensed areas, which is really most of the United States, but including the town of Webster and the cell that we call the Lake Road cell. It currently has inadequate coverage in the Lake Road cell, and to remedy that, and the only way to remedy that is to place a transmitting facility in a technologically appropriate spot in order to cure those service deficiencies. In order to understand why we've selected this site, and while we're here, it helps to take just a minute to go over some basics of cellular technology, cellular telephone technology, and design network. In order for it to work, you have to picture, as the name cellular says, a honeycomb group of cells. The idea is to place a transmitting facility in the middle of each cell, the technological middle, so that it broadcasts to the entire cell without unduly overlapping neighboring cells or gapping. So if you picture a cell turned upside down, you lift that up and that beam gets wider. The higher the antenna, the wider the beam, the lower, smaller the footprint. As you move in one direction, the whole footprint moves over. If it's too far west, it'll interfere to the west and gap in the east, and vice versa. That and the fact that topography will affect this, it's incredibly weak radio signal. It can't bleed into the neighboring cells. So snow on leaves on trees can impede it, topography can impede it. It's also got a plan for population centers and roads where the main traffic is, and of course work in conjunction with all the neighboring cells. All of this means that there's extremely limited flexibility as to where the facility can be placed. Engineers will build the system on the computer, and they'll develop what's known as a search area. And the search area will show doesn't mean that everything just outside it might not, but it's basically the bullseye where it needs to be. And I don't know who's controlling the screen, but if you went to the search area, which is Exhibit G, page 8, that would show you the search area we're talking about. And essentially it needs to be in that search area in order to work. Otherwise it won't work within the network. And we can review the propagations in a minute too. This particular site that we're proposing here, called monopole, and I think everyone knows what it looks like. It's not a tower, it's not guide, it's not like a lattice work, it's like a light standard. And this particular one would be at 100 shelter or equipment cabinet surrounded by a chain link fence. When coming to the site and taking that search area, the site acquisition consultant goes out. They try to find a suitable site by first finding a co-location opportunity. If we can find the existing tower in or near the search area, we go on existing tower, existing building if it's small enough. We then look for municipal property as your code requires if it's available. And look for industrial is the best site given the alternatives that are available, and that's how we ended up at this site. Procedurally, this requires a special permit from the town board. The site from the ZBA. Procedure also requires county 239M review and an ag data notice requirement. So I want to get all those procedural items out of the way. I know there's no decision to be made tonight. I just want to get those out on the record as to what's required. I'm happy to go over as much of the RF information as the board would like, and to go over raise, because I think we're the last on the agenda, so I think everybody's here for this particular one. And the two topics I want to hit are claims of health effects, and the second is effective prohibition under federal and state law. As to the first, claims of health effects, I predict there's on this topic. The first is that this topic is fully preempted under federal law from being considered by a municipality as part of the zoning process. Entertaining or allowing exploration of this topic is a violation of federal law, period. It is not a topic that this board can explore. And Verizon Wireless will fully enforce its rights in that respect. And there's no basis for it. So the second point is, if anybody's actually interested in it, and is interested in the science behind it, the objective facts is a courtesy, because we're not required under federal law. We've submitted a lot of information already to the town board, and that's available. So in reading the facts, to be concerned. But further on this, the fact that it's always made the most sense to me, as our engineers have explained it, and it's just common sense. This is a radio signal. Humans have been broadcasting them for 100 years. It is a run-of-the-mill radio signal, nothing more. The only difference is it's an extremely weak radio signal. It has to be, because as explained earlier, it can't bleed over and interfere into the neighboring cells. So what is concerned about this? They have to be watts, millions of watts in some cases. Where is the concern over police broadcasts? Tow truck communications, often far more powerful. And if one's really concerned about this incredibly weak radio signal coming from the tower, remember that phone you're holding has to be able to broadcast back to the tower. So if they check the power density, they better be far more concerned about pressing the phone to their head if they're being honest about the facts and the power density that comes from radio broadcasts. Nevertheless, despite all that, at previous hearings in this town, neighbors came out and raised all kinds of odd arguments. They claimed they were lied to about asbestos. I don't know what that has to do with this site. Or they found weird Maha sites saying that cell phones cause cancer. I've been to 3 towns since the pandemic where people got up here and vigorously argued that cell towers cause COVID. I don't know where to go with that. There are a lot of weird conspiracy theories. If anybody's interested in science, the information's there. It's an incredibly weak radio signal. That's all it is. And we are happy to oblige, but it'll be outside of the process if somebody wants more information. It will not be part of this process. We are done with that issue in this town, and we will rely on federal law and not engage further. So, again, the town cannot entertain these allegations of adverse health effects as a violation of federal law. It is reversible error. There is nothing more we can add to that, and won't. On the second topic, effective prohibition, I predict there will be a number of people who will just simply say, we don't like it, we don't like the way it looks, we don't want to see it, we want you to turn it down, just turn it down. What they don't understand is that there is no option for that. A municipality cannot turn down one of these facilities without offering a viable alternate site. So to simply get up here and say, turn it down, is meaningless, and it is frankly a waste of everybody's time. Obviously, rely on your own attorney, but here's the law in a nutshell. As you distill all the cases over the last 40 years that we've had case law, both federal and state. And it's essentially the same, whether you're under federal law as a FCC licensed carrier or under state laws of public utility. A municipality cannot prohibit a carrier from having a site that works in that coverage area. But it may reasonably regulate. So what does that mean? It means 2 things for a municipality. First is it can impose reasonable site improvements, which is really this board's site plan board. It's typically a planning board thing. Landscaping, security, sometimes we move it on a parcel of that. Those kinds of site type things, that's reasonable regulation. The second thing a municipality can do under reasonable regulation is it can require the carrier to go to a different site, provided, and it's a distillation of all the federal and state law, provided it works from a technical standpoint and is available without unreasonable cost and unreasonable delay. Works, available, without unreasonable cost and unreasonable delay. That in a nutshell. And Verizon doesn't care where we are. We could care less where the facility is, as long as it works from a technical standpoint, the site's available, and we can proceed without a reasonable cost and reasonable delay. Completely indifferent, completely agnostic as to where it is. But what a municipality cannot do is simply say no to a site if there's not an alternative. Once we've made our prima facie case, which we've done in Exhibit F and G, which basically is we've shown that we need it, we've shown the need for it, we've shown the search area, we've shown where we need to be, we've scrubbed the search area, we've shown the alternatives. We've done all that. So once that's done, a municipality can't simply turn it down. It's got to find an alternate site. So we always encourage the community if they've got a better idea, and sometimes it happens. I mean, the Site Act people do a good job. They've been doing it a long time. But we have new sites where that comes into play, but we won't go away. So anybody who just says turn it down without a viable alternative is just really just wasting everybody's time. With that, with those 2 points made, we're happy to talk about the search area. We're happy to talk about what we looked at. We're happy to talk about if somebody wants to put up the site plan to actually show the site itself, and there's just not much to it. They are inert. They don't. There's no lights on this, by the way. Under 200 feet, you don't need to light it under FAA. And again, that's probably a good one. That picture right there, which just shows it's monopulsar photo simulation of what it would look like from the road. You can see this. I think everybody's pretty familiar with these. At the base, chain link fence. Happy to talk about the RF issues and need for the facility if you'd like. We'll go through the propagations, but it's been, we've had a long agenda. I don't want to take more of your time than is necessary. We are happy to answer any questions the board might have or respond to any questions that are from the public that are legitimate to be asked.
Does this tower include a Faraday shield?
I'm sorry?
Does this tower include a Faraday shield?
Are you talking about lightning protection?
No, I'm talking about a Faraday shield.
I have to have one of the engineers try. If you're talking about lightning protection, it's got a lightning rod. I don't know what a Faraday shield. I've never heard. I've been doing this for 37 years for Verizon. I've never heard of a Faraday shield.
Faraday shield, they use it in the terms in radio, where if you're in the same building where your transmitter is located, they put up basically chicken coop wire to absorb any possible radiation. We were talking about health concerns earlier. So I was just wondering if this tower has a Faraday shield.
Well, the transmission's from the antennas. It's not in a building.
It goes through the tower, though. You still have power going through the tower, don't you?
You have electrical power versus an RF transmission. Are you talking about the electrical power?
I'm talking about power generated from the tower itself, the whole tower.
The tower doesn't generate any power.
There's no power going through
it. There's electricity going to the tower, to the antenna, to the equipment, but the tower's not generating any electricity. And I'm not sure. I'm really not sure what you're following, but I'm happy to have the civil engineers respond.
I used to be in the radio business, and we used to have Faraday shields at one radio station that I worked at, because there was concern about radiation causing health hazards for humans.
Yeah.
There's a concern that I'm sure some of these people have about, health. You're saying that it doesn't. I'm just wondering if a Faraday shield has been discussed.
I've never heard of a Faraday shield in almost 40 years.
Well, why don't we check that out down the road when you come back in again?
Yeah, well, I'm happy to have the civil engineers. And the difference might be as well that you're talking about these incredibly weak radio signals versus, I don't know what your radio station was, but it could have been operating in hundreds of thousands of watts, and that could be the difference.
50,000 watts.
Yeah. Versus some of these, and I've been the RF engineer, I think it's 15 watts channel.
Okay.
Describe
Just curious.
Well, let's move on with it. First of all, for everyone here, assuming everyone here is in regard to the cell tower here, I printed out just for the record, John Myers, Ellen Lindell, Robert Jansen, Tim Kester, Carol Kester, Dan Rasmussen as the attorney, Kelly
It's actually David
Rasmussen.
Rasmussen.
I'm sorry?
Dan is the landowner, David's the.
Oh, okay, all right. This is where I've got the letters, all right. I'm just saying, these are the letters I've received. Kelly letters, and they seem to have the same, you seem to have the same concerns, and I don't think anybody can argue with you. One is the location of it. I saw it on the drawing. I'm personally not happy with it there. I understand what Mr. Bergdorf has said. It is a utility, and they can go to the FCC and looking at Google. I'm dragging this out because I spent a lot of time messing with this thing today here. I went on Google and I found County Line Road and then Basket Road. And Windmill Farm obviously lies in between. I don't know where the property line, but it looks like that farmland is all part of the Windmill Farm, I'm assuming. It's all there. So the location where it is, on that spot right there, Josh, if you go down Monroe-Wayne County Line Road, go down to that house, that I believe is the estate or the home, and that's the grounds of Windmill Farms.
Yes.
Now, if you go just a little bit below that, right there, there's a driveway that goes in back to that field, all the way back. In my opinion, that cell tower could be located way back there by those trees, and you're still going to get the same reception. I think that would appease a lot of the people. I'm hoping that would be the case. And this isn't new to us. I've been here for every cell tower that came into this town, from the very first one, years ago. And we've had them relocate several. There was one, I'm going to tell you a little story, on Bay Road. There was one that if you went north or south on Bay Road, where the Masonic Lodge is there, and you would have looked at that tower right in front of you because there was a little slight curve in the road. Asked them if they could relocate that back onto long story short, they located it back on the Masonic Temple's property back there. You ride down Bay Road, you don't even know there's a cell tower there. The one on Lake Road by Pellet Road, just a couple of years ago, we had, I don't know, 2-3 years ago, whatever it was, now I don't even know. And that came in, they got it located all the way back. There were concerns, people the same thing. I don't want it, the bottom line is I don't want to see a cell tower. That's a big part of it. I understand, I wouldn't either. So they located it all the way back in the property. Is it a bad thing now? No. You know what? If you ride down Lake Road, I bet you several people here ride down, you've never even seen that tower. Your neck would have to turn 95 degrees to see it back there in the woods. And I think this could be located and done the same way. They would not have to disturb the farmland. They could utilize, the way I see it, that farm road that's there currently to put that tower back by that woods. And I think that would be a solution that everybody would be able to live with. I'm hoping that would be the case.
It's very helpful input, Mr. Chairman. That's the kind of thing that we're looking for. What we will do, if this is the board's desire, that's the message we're getting, is we will go back to the landlord. It's got to be available. We'll go back to the landlord. It has to be retested by RF. It's so close that I don't get to make the decision. RF has to retest it. And the town board has also got to prefer this. We've got a special permit there. So we will do our due diligence and see if we can make that work. But we have no objection to doing it. We are completely agnostic as to whether it's at the corner or back there, if it works and we can get the right permissions.
The closest resident to this at that point would be the owner of the property. Okay? That's the best I can come up with tonight. Again, you don't have to build, if you came in off of, if you took and relocated it back in that field off of Lake Road, you would have to put a driveway going all the way back there, and you would have to cross that creek. And I don't know what that creek is. I think that may be a major.
It is. Crossing the creek is a difficulty. Wetlands are a difficulty, but with the existing.
And that's why I'm suggesting coming off of Basket Road, or I'm sorry, off of County Line Road, going and putting it back in that field. No one will ever know that thing is there, and I think that could solve this whole issue. Okay?
Yeah, we are happy to explain.
All right. Anybody need anything else? That's my big thing.
I have a couple. I'll break my rule, Tony. This is just because it's so sensitive. And just for people who are in the public, it is important to know that a lot of this information that Mr. Bergdorf indicated is available to town for you to view as well. one of the things I voted with the rest of the town is just making sure that the information is accessible to the community to kind of answer those concerns, to reassure you about the science that's there. You know, whether it is a QR code with the same application material, so it's digitally available to the direct neighbors, so that way they can review it for themselves, or if it's on a website or something for them to look at, you know, just having the correct information out there can help a long way with the communication and tone.
I'm sorry, I agree, and may I suggest the information, we have submitted some very good information to the town board. It wasn't part of this particular process. So if the town is able to make that, I don't know how you do that with your website.
I mean, if it's available at the library.
Okay.
The physical copy is usually more accessible at the local library. But that was one thing we floated out there. The other one is just the current location, like Tony mentioned. You're right on Lake Road, people are driving up and down the hill, the first thing they're gonna see is that. It's a view source. So besides the health concern, there's always the view concern. Similar to Tony, I spent a good amount of time trying to see within the existing land owner where could be a good location for this. So Josh, roughly where your cursor is, if you just go a little bit farther south, a little bit more down, right there is I have GIS resources, and that area was outside of a wetland concern, hydrology concern. It's slightly higher from the location Tony had. But again, you know, it's a lease agreement, so you could offer the landowner a more upgraded access road that they could use for farming while you also have access to the back. The other location I found, because again, you're really looking for a 76-foot by 36-foot patch. That's essentially what is your footprint of your fence limit would be, and this would take you outside of our township, is across the road. If you just go a little bit more south there, you'll see, keep going south, right there, you'll see that road right there. In that location, you are well within, I think, more than a couple, 1,000 plus feet away from any neighboring resident owner. That is right there, 140 foot by 80 foot of a space pad, and you would just have to maybe upgrade that little bit of road back up to, but you're within your zone. And what I'm saying is, this is like Tony said, you're so far secluded that you're not visually going to see this, because that's owned by them as well. Yep, same landowner.
Yeah, we are.
And this is
And it's
considered
also
your B
windmill.
zone.
It's also windmill. Sorry, it's the same landowner.
Yeah, this is considered your B zone that you had. It's the same landowner.
I don't really care where you're located. My point of this whole thing was get it off of Lake Road, put it back in the woods.
Yeah.
Bottom line. I don't care if you go on the east side, the west side, wherever. Just get
That
it
one
off.
may be a bit far to the south. Again, we're starting to get pretty far from the search area, but sometimes it works.
Yep.
So we'll have it tested.
Yeah. And then my last comment, just the co-location policy that you have on here. So, you know, you can tell us what your equipment will produce, but whoever you lease to on that tower, it just seems like your co-location policy is not very limiting to, it leaves it open to somebody coming in, putting something on there. So I wonder if there's anything with the town that later on, whoever proposes to put anything on the pole would have to go back to the town for approval as well. But again, it's not very limiting, it's only 3 lines.
Yeah, this approval would not apply to others. Any other carrier would have to come for approval to this town. What most towns ask us to do is to make a very liberal co-location policy, because they want carriers to be able to go on our towers, they want us to go on other towers. And with all the major carriers, we have master license agreements, which means we go into another town, we point to it, and there's a site license agreement, it's already worked out. So because co-location is, there's great pressure to co-locate.
That's all I have.
Okay, you all set? Okay. All right, and again, just for the record, we'll take these letters that were sent. You can't read them all tonight because most of them just came this afternoon. What I'll do is I'll give them to Catherine, we'll put them in a file, and we'll send a copy to the applicant and let them address anything on here they feel needs to be addressed when they come in for preliminary. Again, this is simply a sketch plan tonight. There's no conversation, no open floor or anything else. So is that working okay so far for everybody?
Thank you.
When
Okay.
will that,
Okay.
when will it be on the agenda next time?
I'm sorry?
When will the next hearing, or when will it be
Well,
on the
I
agenda?
don't know when they would come back in. They would apply for an application for it.
It'll be published.
Yeah, it'll be published before anyways. Catherine, will you take those, please, and just put them in the record? Now, again, not a public hearing. I know some of you live nearby and across the street and here and there. There's all kinds of stuff and stories going around, and half of them are full. I'll keep it short with that, all right?
Yes,
But,
but
wait a minute, hold on. Hold on a minute, man. Hold on a minute, man. Hold on a minute. So, now, what we'll do, I'll open this. If somebody has to come up, wants to come up and speak and say something, we'll give you, 2 or 3 minutes, just a short. But please, if somebody else wants to, don't repeat the same things, and let's don't beat it to death. Just, if you have something new that can help us, God bless you, bring it up. Just raise your hand and let us know, and we'll let you speak. Okay, fair enough to everybody? Yes, whoever's in the back. Yes, sir.
I'm one of the people that sent you a comment, so you've got my.
What was your name?
Robert Jansen. I live right across the street from where this would be.
Okay.
If you could pull up page 105, I'll show you where my house is.
Okay, you're close by though, right?
Oh, 380 feet.
Okay.
Can't talk about health issues. I would if I could, but I will address the issues of value. There's no question that towers have an effect on property values that are located nearby. In this proposal on page 125, you'll find a list of 26 properties that are within 500 feet of the proposed tower. There's plenty of evidence. There's a journal on real estate finance and economics that did a 1,000 per buyer survey. Asked them, what would you think about being near a tower? 75% said, no thanks. I don't really want to buy or rent there. 94%, I would never buy near there. Average cost to the nearby properties, someplace between 10 and 30%. In my case, that's $50,000 to $150,000. That would be the impact to me. Who would reimburse us for that loss of value? And in most cases, a home is a family's biggest investment. So if you take that kind of hit, and we have some real new homes in our neighborhood, this is quote a rural neighborhood. We've had 4 new homes go in across the street in the last year or 2. There's another development, 3 homes going in just up the street from that. There's a new one right at the end of the field. That's my house at the far end of that picture. There's the tower. We're 380 feet from that. If you were to turn left and look across Lake Road, in this package proposal, there's no picture that shows that. But right across the road are a number of homes. They're about 400 feet.
Okay.
So the impact on value would be significant. That's a major concern to us. I appreciate Mr. Bordeaux's comments about being willing to look at proposals on the farm. I understand they have every right to do what they want. There's a lot of land. We think you could push back to the edge of the orchards on both sides.
Well, that's why we're suggesting to take it off that spot and move it back.
Well, there's orchards on both sides of the county line. You could go way back on both of them and exceed the 1,500 foot kind of standard accepted level now, if you look at the literature. So I appreciate the ability for people to consider another choice. Getting back in the orchards would be great.
Thank you.
On the farm here, they must be wondering about all the rest of us. But thank you for taking the time.
Okay, thanks a lot. Appreciate it. Okay, anybody else any comments? Or again, my point here is reading your letters, and I think everybody's got the same situation. You don't want to see a tower right on Lake Road, and I would have to agree 100% with you on that. And what we can do is the best we can do, and that being hopefully they cooperate and can relocate that back in. I don't care if it's on one side of County Line Road or the other side, but just get it back in the woods somewhere. That's all. And we've done it before, and they have cooperated very, very nicely in the past on other towers. And again, we've had a lot of towers come into town. And this one here, what you folks are doing here, is no different than any other tower that's ever been here. So the only thing they'd have to get a variance for the extra 25 feet, because our code says 100 feet. In my opinion, I think the code, I spoke to the supervisor earlier, I think that's something that should get changed, allow 125 feet. We thought years ago at 100 feet, we'd have not so conspicuous towers, but then it turned out that you needed more towers because they didn't reach as far. So with that said, we'll end it with that and hopefully they can change it, okay? All right?
Thank you.
Bird enough, does that work for you guys too?
It does, thank you. We will be back to what
Okay,
we
appreciate
explored.
that. We're good to go. Thank you very much. And folks, thanks for your comments, and actually, I want to thank you for being respectful to everybody, you know, without, sometimes people get a little rambunctious and hollering at us and screaming at us and pointing their finger, we pay your salary. Salary? So, thanks for coming in, folks. Have a good night.
Thank you.
No, but I'll be back. Yeah, I'll be back.
Oh, yeah. Wait.
All right, folks, we have one more application. We have one more application. Can I ask you to go out in the hall so we can get through this other application? Thank you very much. Okay, we have one more. Go ahead.
Some Lowe's, seasonal staging and signage
Would you guys please take it to the hallway? We're not done with our business yet.
Okay. This, while they're going out, over the years, when Lowe's originally came in, it was developed and built and so on and so forth. One of the stipulations was that there was to be no, folks, could you please go outside? Folks, could you please go outside? Thank you. Anyways, Lowe's came in, one of the stipulations, there was to be no outdoor storage. They have been meticulous in keeping their sign. Over the years, we've allowed them to put lawn mowers, snow blowers, miscellaneous things in the front. They've always kept it neat and clean and so on and so forth. A little while later, they wanted to put some sheds over there, and we were a little concerned initially, but we went along with it. That was along the west property line there by the roadway. And I think you've got like 4 of them there, something like that, right? No big deal. That has not created any issues. And now they're proposing some parking spaces for some trailers. And again, this isn't like it's right on the main highway, like you go out Ridge Road West and it looks like a flea market. You know, everybody's got everything out in front of the stores and stuff. This is kept well managed very nicely. So with that said, go ahead.
Good evening. Thank you for your time. My name is Hans Yarajo. I'm the store manager for the Lowe's. I'm here with Joseph Strucker, my operations manager. Just thank you for the opportunity to come aboard. As you can see there on the image, what we're asking for is to be able to set up, we propose up to 15 spaces, but a truckload of the trailers would be 10 come on the truckload. We have 15 spaces just in case they're a little wider than a parking spot. I'm just asking for just your approval on the set location to be able to merchandise the trailers for our customers.
Rented trailers?
Sorry?
Rental trailers?
No, for sale.
You're putting, that would be near the lumber and so on entrance, correct?
Yeah, right across the
At the
street
east end of the
from, right across from the Pro entrance.
Now, you really need 15. Can they reduce that down to like maybe half of that, 9 or 10 maybe, or something?
Absolutely.
I mean, instead of 15, that's a pretty big line of trailers. I mean,
so what we could do, so 10 come on a truckload, we can store the rest behind the building.
Okay, so put 8 or 9 out in front and the rest are just got stored in the back.
Absolutely.
Are you guys okay with that?
Yeah. These are those kind of flatbed trailers.
Yeah, landscaping
trailers. It's not box trailers.
Landscaping,
Okay.
yeah.
I think the biggest one is 6 by 10.
All right, anybody?
Are you gonna stripe it somehow to designate it as your area, just so that you don't have the pro
Yeah.
cars going and parking in your spots or anything like that, or?
We'll have signage.
Okay.
Sven, you okay with that?
Yeah, my only question was, thinking back on the pickleball courts and how their traffic was gonna flow, how would that impact the traffic flow if that project were?
No, really, I don't think it does at all, because it's a totally separate piece. The road is all the way over further to the east, when they're proposing to come in there.
I thought it was going around the parking lot for me.
Yeah, it goes across the back along the north line,
Okay.
then it comes down over there. Where they're proposing is just right at the edge of the.
Currently, it does drop it right down that aisle, but it's not gonna be that way. It's gonna be extreme close.
Yeah.
So one in here.
One of the town's concerns, this is an image from last spring, and there was a large stockpile of mulch in this for a good period of time. As the other properties develop and this access road becomes more heavily used, I just think you should keep in mind not to keep as many stockpiles of mulch in that location.
I mean,
Maintain
the
a
other
line of sight
concern-
around that curve there, right? Okay, so
Line of
when
sight
you're
around.
stockpiling your stuff, you probably need to move some of them, you already got a bunch of it there already. You might have to clear it enough so that there's clearance around that curve, you know, some things around that curve.
Especially with the development, because the development on the east of the rental store, on the west side, I mean, pickleball courts now.
The other concern, Josh, just is, yes, they're bagged mulch, but there's always those ones, and you have, during rain events, phosphorus coming from the mulch that's now going into the stormwater system, which could cause green plumes even more. So just be careful if you're keeping this amount stored, it should really be in an enclosure somewhere.
Yeah, it's all bagged and sealed, that stuff is not loose, they don't sell loose mulch. It's all sealed. Bags, they've been doing this, how many years have been doing that, there's been no issues with that. Once a bag gets broken or something, then that's disposed of, I'm sure. All right, look, everybody okay with this?
Yep.
All right, then I'll make a motion that we allow those to create along the east property line opposite the lumber entrance there, as showing on their drawing. Parking for, not 15, what did we say, like 9? Nine, I think that's fair. 9. Let's make it 9. Yeah. 9 trailers to be allowed to be parked in that area. And designate that area for the trailers. Okay, that would be a motion. Need a second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, we're good. Okay, you're all set, guys.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the meeting minutes February 3rd.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Thank you.
Okay, we're good. All right.
Oh, yeah. Sven.
What's that?
Sven was here.
Oh,
This was
yeah.
one of Sven.
Steve, yeah.
Oh, all right, anything else we need to? Okay, I guess we're all set then. With that, I guess we're all set for the evening. Thanks for coming in.